talking about finances.
Woo.
I think I hope I'm not alone. I don't think I'm alone, but place that can get your finances. Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
out to eat. And it got me thinking. So Chick-fil-A, I feel like everyone loves Chick-fil-A. It's hard to come across someone who like hates Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, there are people out there.
There are people out there. Yeah. And usually it's maybe it's not necessarily always the chicken is not good reason.
Right. Yeah. Well, my mother-in-law. So Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A used to be like a big deal.
Yeah.
Because we only had them at the Northwoods Mall, not Northwoods
Oh yeah,
Mall.
in like malls.
McCain Mall.
Yeah.
In North Little Rock. And so we would go, and they used to have chicken on a stick, like almost like chicken finger, like little thing. And that's what she liked. And she doesn't really like the sandwiches.
Man.
So she's not a huge Chick-fil-A fan.
How dare she?
Yeah.
How dare she?
How can she?
Yeah, same thing when I was little. It was like my grandparents had one in like their mall, but we didn't have one like right around the corner. And then all of a sudden they're everywhere and take it over. Well, I say this because my brother has just moved back to the United States. So lived in Peru for a couple years. Really miss Chick-fil-A. Miss Chick-fil-A so much.
Jameson.
Jameson.
Talking about you, Jameson.
Yeah, Jameson. I'm sure. Pay attention. When he would visit the States.
Someone was getting engaged at the Chick-fil-A.
That's a very good guess.
Sorry. Okay.
He's known for interrupting engagements. It's kind of his thing. But when he would visit the States, he would order a couple Chick-fil-A, like chicken biscuits, a couple number one meals, whatever, put it in his like luggage, fly to Peru. It's like the wait, because you get to Lima's easy, then it's a little bit harder to get to Arequipa where he's at. Yeah. It's like a day and a half of travel.
Oh.
And he's like bringing it home to like family and friends and stuff, and they're like, this is great. I'm like, I like Chick-fil-A, but there's like a shelf life where I'm like, nope, I'm not. No, after a day or two, I'm not going to eat it.
It's so crazy. So as you know,
okay, yeah,
tonight I'm on tap.
Oh yes,
to cook hibachi for the family. We got that Flatstone or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Is it Blackstone?
Blackstone flat grill.
That's when you know you've made it in life, when you're like, I don't even know what this fancy grill is.
Well, it was given to me.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Just for clear, in our financial podcast, it was given to me. But you may or may not know that for hibachi rice, you need to cook it and then like let it rest for 24 hours. So in a refrigerator, because it changes the starch, it makes it stickier and stuff. So you're talking about shelf life. Yesterday in the morning, Jill had made it, and it was like hot in the Instapot. I was like, just like put it on a cookie sheet, let it cool off. I'll put it in the refrigerator.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh yeah, checks. Seems like everything's gonna go great.
Well, I am driving home from work, and I'm like, I left the house without putting it in the refrigerator, so it sat out for 5.5 hours, and I went to I think some people are still like anti chat, but to me, it's just like Google now.
Yeah,
so
right.
I just like say, hey, this is what happened. How long can rice stay out? I'm going to cook it again. It's going to get hot. And it was like, well, this particular bacteria rapidly can spread through rice when it's at room temperature, and it can withstand heat. So cooking again wouldn't necessarily
coming through. So
the family. I mean, rice is not that terribly expensive. It's just
not for you, Mr. Moneybags.
Yeah.
No,
so we call it. We have this. We have like a raccoon and stuff in our backyard. We call it the boog.
Unbelievable.
So we were like, okay, we're gonna give it to the boog. So we just threw that rice out.
People and raccoons, the hawks too, man, just feeding this raccoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Well, all that to say, I was thinking, I don't know if there's not a fast food that I would just unrefrigerated a couple days and be like, this is great. I don't know, but it's like he would take it home and like give it to like, here my friends, they love Chick-fil-A, and it's like you've had like the 2-day-old chicken biscuit. I just like, man, it's where I draw the line.
Have you seen folks that they'll unwrap this McDonald's burger, and so they get it without the wet sauces.
Okay. Yeah.
So they'll get the cheese, the burger, and the bun, no sauce. It's like 10 years old.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah.
And it's like
so gross.
No mold, no nothing. It's just kind of desiccated a little bit. Flaky. And they're like, is this what you want to be putting in your body? Like, this is pumped with preservatives and whatever. I saw a video.
Oh boy.
On this, and this guy in Russia, of course, has this bear, and he's trying to feed it a McDonald's burger, and the bear would not eat it.
No.
It was like, and he even like took the buns away and just tried to put the patty in its mouth, and the bear wanted nothing.
Man, this is not a test where you've had a burger for 10 years from McDonald's, but go through some car seats. You see the fries. You're like, I don't know how long this food has been here. This is not good.
Or like you see like the dried chocolate milk that's dripped through.
Cleaning car seats, honestly, one of my biggest fears. Mm-hmm. It is just always terrible.
No bueno.
You find stuff. So anyway, spend money on Chick-fil-A, spend money on fast food. We might talk about some of that stuff because that is a good practical way. Easier said than done, and maybe it's hard if you're busy. Mm-hmm. But we want to talk finances. We're talking a lot of finances over the next several weeks, really.
Yeah. Well, like we said, season 2.
New backgrounds.
Yeah. What do y'all
merch.
think? Yeah, new merch.
Yeah, merch got delivered is what I heard.
Merch has gotten delivered today. Someone got their first shirt, got a picture of it, so that's great. Wow. It is drop shipped, I'll just say. So, we're not making we're making a few dollars off of each. Yeah. So it's a little bit more expensive than if we were to buy it in bulk and have that risk, but so
it's ready whenever you need it. So well, we'll go ahead and jump into it. So let's take it to the next level. From the heart of the Low Country in South Carolina,
it's the Take Two podcast, where we take theology to the next level.
What I like about this pod, Michael, is that we're gonna get a little practical. Not saying that like we have all the answers. It's not. Right. It's really not a one size fits all. And I think that's what some of the value of practical stuff is. We probably can at least say what is not. Don't do this. Whether we've done it ourselves or we know this is not a good formula. Whether we have the exact best answer for everyone.
Yeah, and it's hard to say it's not a good formula. I just watched this little documentary.
Oh boy.
There's this guy who was trying to get investor loans for his business.
Okay.
And they wouldn't give him the loans, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I have $5,000. It's not enough to make payroll. And so I'm going broke regardless. My only hope is go gamble it. He goes to Vegas, starts gambling that $5,000 at blackjack, comes home with $30,000.
Dude. Makes
payroll. And in that month, he secures investor loans. That company day is known as FedEx.
Wow. From Memphis shout out.
Yeah.
Wow. Honestly.
So, but that's... Yeah. That we're not saying that was a wise decision.
I'll be right back. Gotta place a couple bets real quick. Yeah. So maybe it's also a spectrum on wisdom. Like what would wisdom say? Not saying that everything is an outright sin or terrible, but maybe it's not wise.
Right. Yeah.
And different situations call for different actions. And we're in this finance series, we're going to talk a lot about Scripture. We've got some good things lined up. Talking about Michael, looking at the Old Testament, New Testament.
Yeah.
These really, really good questions. And I think, we looked at Proverbs earlier, and some of these couple of podcast episodes maybe get into some more practical matters as we try to piece all of this together.
No, that's good. So first one on our list, I think is foundational to everything that we're doing. It's foundational to worry and fear and anxiety. It's foundational to pride and being puffed up. So wherever you're at on the spectrum of finances, God is the ultimate owner and supplier of all of our needs.
That's really good. And reminding yourself to, look, God owns it all. He owns, cattle on 1,000 hills, that psalm, and he owns everything anyway.
Yeah. Jill makes fun of me for saying that. So
Jill does?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jill. Hey, Jill. If you want to cause trouble, come here and start something, okay? I don't want to hear you talk about my co-host like that. But it's, when that does take a lot of pressure off of you if you say, hey, I'm going to steward things in accordance to God, because finances are stressful.
It is stressful.
There's ebbs and flows, different seasons. It's a lot of responsibility. And looking at it that way, that I'm going to steward. I feel like that's like the good Christian word, steward.
Steward.
Finance as well. That's what we're called called to do, and I like that a lot, where it takes a lot of pressure off on one hand, but it also, I think, gives you a lot of freedom to, what's that mean? Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, because what one Christian does with their finances may be different. And, what your risk tolerance is going to be different. I remember I was talking to someone, and I wasn't necessarily happy with my performance in Bitcoin. And they're asking, well, how much you have in there? I was like, $50. So like, I'm like, I guess I'm not very risk tolerant when it comes to that kind of thing. But
yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, exactly. And if you're not, we might talk about this later on. It's like, I've done the thing where it's like you get in Bitcoin and you're like, oh, it's going terrible, and you sell it, then it goes up. Or I don't know, it's like you got to just
oh, it's high again, let me buy it. Oh, no, it's terrible again, let me sell it.
Yeah, you're just like losing money because you're like too much invested emotionally.
Yeah.
And by that same token, like you and I are in a different spot than if you're like a single person with no children, or if you're living in China or Russia, different countries, different economics. There's a whole bunch of different things that go into the calculus of how you should spend your money. It might be not okay for you to spend it that way and okay for someone else to spend it that way. Yeah,
there was a guy that I worked with, and I don't know if they chose not to have kids or if they just had some fertility issues. I don't know. But they didn't end up not having any kids. And I know she had some health issues, but he was telling me that they were retiring, and he kept saying, got 4.3 million in the bank, 4.3 million in the bank, and he was like ready to go spend that, and then I got 5 daughters, potentially 5 weddings, private school.
Yeah, the weddings. This is great. Planning for the future. We'll have to hit on that. Are you familiar with this term, DINK?
No.
So this is a thing. Like it's an acronym for dual income, no kids.
Okay.
And it's like people set out to be dinks.
Yeah.
It's kind of, they could work on the name. Let's be honest. It's like a different acronym. Dink is not, but they're like, 2 incomes with no kids. We've got our whole life planned out. A lot of times it's associated with retiring early, financial independence, this kind of thing. But their whole goal, which I don't agree with, is we're purposely going to get married and not have kids.
Right.
And to me, it kind of seems a little selfish if that's like your intent.
But those people don't need to have kids.
That's right. True. That's true. That's true.
So.
And so their whole thing is we both have 6-figure job, and it's like this, But it's if you look up, you can find a lot on there. Wow, that's like insane. Where they are taking ownership of their finances, but they're looking at it through a different lens than viewing God. You know what I mean?
Right. And that I don't know if we're going to talk about Ramsey's. Dave Ramsey stuff.
Dave.
Really good practical advice. Yep. But money is not the end all be all. Like you can be a good Christian and have a little credit card debt,
Yeah.
Not saying that's best financial, but maybe.
You heard it here first. Max out those credit cards. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're not saying that.
We're not saying that.
But I'm saying there's more to life than just your IRA and your 401k.
Yeah, that's a good point. Having that balance where money's important, but it's one part of the overarching equation.
Yeah.
I like on here, view yourself as a manager for God. You're managing resources, and as a manager, sometimes you have to push hard in one direction or the other. Sometimes take a little more risk. Sometimes it's like, hey, we can't take risks. Sometimes maybe it's not ideal to like not see your family for a week, but you're like, I got to provide for my family. Or you make these decisions that aren't totally black and white, but it's like, you are managing and stewarding, and you're living in different situations with different actions.
That's good.
Number two,
yeah.
I like this one. One I could probably do better at is practicing generosity.
I think that's great, and I think what a lot of people think is, well, when I get to X amount, I can really practice generosity.
I've thought that a lot. I mean,
Yeah, or when I get up here, and I think like as you get higher, obviously your generosity should go up. But even if you have a little bit, you can still give a little bit. And what I would recommend is find an organization like Compassion International or other local organizations that are taking care of people not America. There are people in America that have financial distress. But the people, like you take the poor person in America and compare their lifestyle to a rich person in some other places, and it's still like that poor person is doing a lot better.
Everyone's in a different situation, but I've definitely so no judgment, even though this is going to sound. Don't you? When someone says, "Hey, no judgment," usually it means we're about to make a judgmental statement. That's what I'm doing here.
No disrespect, but you are the worst person I know.
Exactly right. And everyone's different. I don't know everyone's finances. Physical therapist. I've been in some people's homes who I don't know their situation. I'm sure there's good reasons. They're on Medicaid and welfare, and I'm like, man, I wish I could afford this cable package they have, or what I'm saying. You're like, their whole financial picture isn't great, but there's certain subsets you're like, wow, you really went all out on those speakers, huh, bro? Know what I mean? It's kind of funny. But everyone's kind of different, and I would probably agree with you that for most people in the United States, like, not that you're going to be a bajillionaire, but maybe it requires you to move to a different city. Maybe that's a really hard thing to do, but you can change your circumstances, and you can probably do okay, even if it's not comfortable. It might be like, hey, it's very expensive by the coast. It's like, hey, move middle of the country. Right. Maybe you don't have to stay there forever, but anyway. Soapbox that I think I agree with you that some people, they don't have that ability.
Right.
And furthermore, to one of your points, in therapy, I think this is true for like everything, but the most likely indicator of you having future back pain is a history of back pain. And it's like that with anything. If you've sprained your ankle, probably gonna sprain your ankle again. If you've never had any back problems, you're more likely not to. If you don't practice generosity when you have a little, you might not really be as generous as you think you might be when you have a lot.
Yeah, no, that is good. So there's a classic story in the Bible, someone practicing generosity, giving.
Okay.
The widow's mite, right?
That is good.
She gave her last. And so now there's also another story there that they had this donation box out much longer than what they should have. So, but she still gave with a good heart.
Man, and we've all 2 Corinthians 9. It's like one of those passages that everyone hears a lot, that God loves a cheerful giver. It's like, and we've all probably been there too. Sometimes I've given generously. Sometimes it's like not cheerfully. It's like it's good to have those things together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is great when you can give, and it just being able to trust God, having that sacrificial giving. And so a real practical way is you probably should give to your local church. We'll probably talk about giving a lot more in a upcoming episode. But that's a good place to give.
We're sitting here, and I know this isn't banter time, but a half-baked idea. We should require it that as the offering plate goes by and you put something in, or when you go back to our electronic giving, once that's complete, you start laughing. You just go, ha, 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 because it's cheerful. It's a cheerful giver.
That's a great idea. Like, we'll have like a light switch you turn on. It's like a sign that says like laugh, and it gets the crowd to laugh, like those TV shows, like a sitcom.
If you can't laugh, then we probably wouldn't want to say that. If you can't laugh, don't give it. Well, you can go ahead and give it.
Yeah, let's give anyway. But that's great, and it's easy to. I like this other note on here. I think this is a broader principle for church culture and being a church member is don't just consume. Like, it's good to live your life giving, whether it is financial or in any other way. It's like out of every interaction, you just don't want to be a taker all the time.
Right.
That probably wears on people, but if you can just give, I think that changes your whole outlook, and you're probably going to be a happy person.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing about people in America who are in tough spots. Sometimes the dollar bill is the easy thing to give them, but it's not what they need. And the sacrifice that, they may need, and obviously within bounds of safety and reason, and we live busy lives, but sometimes, there was one place where we stopped for gas between Arkansas and here, and the guy was asking me for money, and I was like, I won't give you money, but he's like, well, I'm hungry. I'm like, here's a Waffle House. I'll go in and I'll pay for your meal. But I'm not going to give you any money. Yeah. So I just, I said, let him order and I'll pay for it. And they're like, he's here all the time, sir. You don't have to do this. I'm like, that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind. But that took longer for me.
Yeah, it's a commitment. Yeah, more so. Because it's easy even on your end just to be like, here's this.
Right.
Now that's really good. I like that principle. Practice generosity. One that's not as fun is number 3. Live within your means.
No, it's not as fun.
This is the out to eat. This is the nice car, the nice house. Really, you could probably apply this in
hunting lease.
Hunting lease, yeah. How do you try to avoid debt, live within your means, honor God, have some good financial peace about you? There's this Proverbs 22:7 that says the borrower is slave to the lender, and when you start living outside of your means, I think it can get out of control. And once it's out of control, it's hard to reel that back in.
Yeah, and I think for us personally, we've and I don't know if it's inflation or what, but we felt like we were really good at this, and then like the last couple of years, it's like wow, it seems like everything is more expensive.
You can't
it's tougher. Like you think we think we're living with our means, and like we're not changing anything, but our discretionary spending ability's gone down.
I know what you mean, where there was a time when I was a kid, I could literally go to Wendy's and I could get something like for $4. I could eat a meal. Like I would be full. Dollar menu was actually good. And I usually don't go dollar menu now, but it's like you get number 1, it's like that'll be $12. You're like, what?
Right. It is crazy. Same story. We had a Taco Bell that was in a gas station.
Taco Bell, yeah.
And like if you had $4-5, you could eat like a king.
I love
That's
it.
right.
Yes.
You could, I would get I would get a drink and this burrito and this Nacho Supreme, and it's like you can't do that these days.
Yeah. So I guess if we want to drill down a little more, how do you live within your means? What are good principles? And I think the thing that makes it hard is I drive a minivan. You drive a minivan. I mean, you guys have a minivan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You look out, like if I go out to all my neighbors, like no one has minivans. It's all like these like super nice like Yukons or Suburbans, and it's like before I got a minivan, I was like, I'll just get a Suburban, and then I didn't realize this is $1 bajillion. Minivans are very cheap, but it's like you look out and everyone's got such nice things too, and that makes it hard. Yeah. What's some good practical advice? How do you make sure you're spending what's appropriate to your financial situation?
Yeah. Well, we were talking, one thing that we did that I look back and go, that was not very smart. When we were first married, we bought a car new.
Okay. Yeah. What'd you get?
A Chrysler Pacifica.
Chrysler. Oh, okay. Yeah.
When they were the wagon. Not
okay.
The first launch of them. And it's fine. It served. We drove it to like 160,000, 170,000. So, and then sold it. So, but there's a lot that you're paying extra in a new car. So we don't buy new cars anymore. I think that's one practical way. Ours are always used. Like our in-laws are like, well, we're about to sell this car. Yeah. I'm like, that's about time we buy the car.
Perspective is all different. And I count myself fortunate because one way that Leanne and I have been able to save money over the years is, hey, when my parents are like, hey, we're done with this car. Do you want it? We'll take a car for free. Granted, we're not driving like fancy things. Yeah. Like when we were first married, we drove probably for maybe not 2 years, like a year and a half, a 2003 Toyota Sienna, like minivan as a married couple. Yeah. Like everyone's like, oh, you guys ready to have kids? And we're like, no. It just and that
free.
Thing died. Yeah. My parents gave me their old Prius, and not everyone has it, but it's there's also a side of me that was like, man, I don't want to drive this. I'm 23 years old. Why am I driving a minivan or something? I was like, and I think everyone's different. God has blessed me with like not being a car person. Like I don't,
That's right.
Like that's not like where I love, because I know some people it's like that's their thing, and that's great. If you work on cars, great. I've got my own things that I like that I spend money on and stuff. But cars are not one of them. They just happen to be very expensive things. I'm like, they're already expensive enough.
That's right.
Tell me about this. How closely do you guys budget? Are you writing down everything? Is it like once a year you do a strict budget, and then are you tracking it so closely?
Well, I'm the spender of the family.
Okay.
Jill's the saver of the family, typically.
Also practical advice: marry a saver.
Marry a saver. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think you can. If you have two savers together, that's hard to be charitable. It's hard to be.
That's right.
There needs to be some balance there. But I'll say. We used to, and we stopped because we weren't using it as much. But there is a good app if you want to do it called You Need a Budget. Wine app.
Yeah. That's like from Dave Ramsey.
Does he advertise it? I don't know. But
I have no idea.
So you can put in, what you want to spend on it and stuff. And we got to where we're kind of doing it after the fact. So I was like, why am I spending this money on this app if I'm not going to use it the right way? But yeah, so we do sit down, we give out some broad numbers, but we could do better about dialing it in.
I would say I'm like in a similar position. There's used to be maybe more like once a year, or there's comes a time where I like really look closely, like try to dial it in, and then maybe readjust some of those numbers based on things that have changed, but have some guidelines, because the other side of it is you can live by that. I think people that do that, it's good. That's probably good practice. I should do better in.
Yeah.
But you can live by that spreadsheet too.
Yeah.
And that I think that also can be a problem where you're being very good with your money, but you're also kind of making money, and you're almost. It's like I don't know. There's
got to be a balance. Yeah.
There's got to be that balance. I think YNAB is not Dave Ramsey. I think his is like every dollar. There's something, but they're similar.
Okay.
But I just looked it up, and they're like it's a big thing online. I don't know.
Yeah. But we have made some changes. Like it's easy if you have kids in sports and stuff. You're like, let's just eat out tonight. Let's just eat out tonight. And then we're like, okay, we have got to rein this in. So it is a rare occasion for us to eat out, not on a Sunday. So we will one day a week.
That's good.
Like that's our kind of a time. And some people may say that's still too much. Like I remember growing up, and it may have been once a month that we ate out. So it's still one day a week still feels a little bit with 7 kids, but we try to find reasonable places to eat,
Yeah, I think it's good. Challenging to do, but that's really good. We as a family don't eat out very much either. I probably eat out too much work related. I'm trying. This is a bad excuse, but I'm on the road in between houses and stuff, running around. So that's one area I've gotten better at, which is good. I'm still not where I need to be. Leanne is the saver, especially with so many small kids close in age, and they're all boys. Probably all girls hand me down. It's easy to keep clothes, and it's like they make it all the way. Yeah,
buckets in our attic, and we're just now starting to clear them out. Now,
hey, you never know. Maybe another girl will come along.
Yeah.
But yeah, because kids' clothes ain't cheap.
No, they're not.
Boy, what a rip off to wear something for 3 months, and then you grow out of it when you're that little.
Yeah, that is the case, and we've never been like we have to get our kids the latest, greatest styles or anything like.
Yeah, right. Speaking of keeping up with the Joneses, there are some families where you're like, your kid's wearing really nice clothes all the time. Are we just where are we doing with it? What's going on? That's a big expense potentially.
Yeah, I did most of Phoebe's summer shopping at Walmart, and it's just like five.
She's gonna spill stuff on it anyway, and she's gonna get grass stains. It's that's just what a kid's being like, I'm right there with you. Living within your means, and my kids are little, I'm sure their needs and wants, the expense grows. Right now, if we go out to eat, kids can share a meal. We can make it cheap, but it's coming soon. Jackson eats more than anyone. He's only 6. It's that's going to be a bad day when even just you don't come out, your grocery bill. Because you're saying, everything's gotten expensive. Right. Leanne's hey, FYI, grocery budget's got to go up. I'm not buying anything different.
Right.
But it's gotten significantly more expensive over the last couple of years.
What we like to do, this is Jill's favorite thing, when we sit down as a family meal, she'll all right, kids, how much did this meal cost? And we're
that's actually good.
Okay, compare this to what we spent Sunday.
Yeah.
So, you got to be wise with, with what you're spending.
So that's great too. And I'm sure a lot of neighborhoods are like this. If you just get on that neighborhood, don't be on social media too much, but just enough when people are giving away all their free stuff, where it's that's how we get our bikes, and that's how we get Jaden's got
bunk beds.
What
bunk beds?
Hey,
we didn't give it away, but it was a good deal.
We got a deal. We got a deal from the Motts, and it came with
holding up?
Still holding up.
Great.
Which surprising, because I'm sure they treat those things terribly. But and it came with some installation. It's great.
Yeah, free installation.
Michael helped out there, but there's a lot of little things. Leanne does really well at doing the yard sailing, doing looking at those neighborhood things. That's been really, really helpful, because my default is, you want something that's good, you want something that's and there is a balance. There's some things you need quality that's going to cost a little more, but they're just going to last longer. Like kids' clothes, not one of those things. Those things are disposable, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So trying to figure out all of those different things. And then I guess we can stop at this next one. Will be at a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Save and invest wisely. It's important to save, important to invest, or you're going to wind up one day and it's expensive to live. I go to all these assisted livings and it's like, boy, you ever have to go to assisted living, be ready to shell out some money.
Yeah.
Even for not nice places, it's, you just spend so much. It's crazy. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. I think we see investing. We see these parables. We see things in Proverbs. We see it's good to invest for your future. And so, what are some ways we can invest? What are some good practical steps to take?
Just the financial side of it, like thinking of it as a financial planner. If your company has 401k matching,
that's a no-brainer. It's free money.
Take advantage of it. Although I heard that that companies use that just as a tax write-off. So somehow they get extra tax write-off for it, so that's why they do it.
I believe it.
Not out of just the generosity of their heart. Starting young.
That's probably the big. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I've read something one time. It's like, man, if you just kids born, put $1,000 and contribute like $50 a month or something. It's like by the time they're 65, they'll be a millionaire just because of the time,
Right.
That is good. Not to totally wait there. The automated 401k. That's a good one. I really like HSA. I just max out that HSA all the time because it's just tax protected times 3, and that thing just.
And for HSA, is that health
savings accounts?
Yeah.
Not to be confused with a flexible savings or spending account or whatever, the FSA. HSA is where it's at, and a lot of companies also contribute to HSAs as well. The problem with HSA, you only can contribute a small amount. It's every year, so you can't take as much advantage of it as a 401k or an IRA or something like that. But there's the other side of it. If you're handy or entrepreneurial and want to do rentals or that kind of thing, a little bit maybe more risk. Maybe a little bit different. Everyone's kind of built different based on what their skill set is and what they're willing to jump into. Where I think the rental side of things sounds really fun, but I think it probably comes with more challenges too.
Yeah. Now, do you have rentals, right?
I do have rentals.
1, 2?
Oh, I'm trying to. I'm pumping the brakes on the rentals, but I think I'm good where I'm at. We got 5.
Oh, I didn't.
And we're just hanging out there, but they're
one in
cheap.
Cabot, Arkansas.
That's my pride and joy. Cabot. They're all in the middle of the country where they're not in Charleston because Charleston's expensive and you can get good deals, or you could get good deals years ago. Oh man, you could buy homes. I mean, they're not the nicest homes in the world, but they'll get tenants in there for $140,000. You could. Now you can't get that anywhere. But that was that was, and I was reevaluating. I think in the long run, it's good. It's kind of like a forced savings account where just the equity building up is good. It's not like I'm cash flowing $1 bajillion.
Right.
But I think it's good. But also, if I put all my money in the stock market, over the last 8 years, it's been really good too. You know what I mean? It's as long as you are putting your money somewhere, I'm you're probably doing okay. You
Not
just kinda,
that THX or whatever that fund was. What was the fund where the guy stole all the money?
Yeah, you just got to avoid massive scams and you'll be okay. Just walk up. And then one note I put on there, invest in your health. Maybe you do a gym membership, or maybe you do get some. You don't really need a membership, but I think there's something to that where you can have a lot of health problems as you get older, or you can have. You know what I mean?
That could save you money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you're just
you're saying an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Boom.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Where you're just a more vibrant person. You can probably work harder. You probably have better productivity. You probably can spend more valuable time with your family if you just work out a little bit. You're semi-healthy. So
longer work. Life. Yeah. You don't need to retire soon.
You don't. I think there's a lot of benefits there. I think the challenge is you can say, hey, I'm eating everything, or you can go to and you're actually spending a lot of money, and it's okay, there's some risk reward that falls off where you're okay, I'm not eating Chick-fil-A, but maybe I don't need the most pristine whatever.
Keep mentioning Chick-fil-A.
I know, man. So I love Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A and Idol too.
Idol, Chick-fil-A. And then when it comes to working out, you could probably just do a fine workout at your home, buy a couple weights. You probably don't need to spend like $500 a month. And you're like, I'm just being healthy. Maybe that is excessive too. Yeah. All that. And then we mentioned this, but I think this is important. Like you need to be a little bit flexible, like whether it's like you can move or you can try a different career path. Like if you're just like so inflexible, maybe that's why things aren't going great. I don't know.
I saw this story where people were talking about that moving to other countries.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, we live like royalty,
man,
and I get paid, this salary, I can work remotely. And it's like, we have this villa and we have these housekeepers. And it's like, because the cost of living there is so much lower than it is in certain areas. Yeah. So,
I think there's something to some of that if it's like, hey, there's a good opportunity and it's a couple hours away. Anyway, if it comes down to providing for your family or that kind of thing. Well, that's great. We're halfway through the lists. I think that's a lot of practical advice. We'll shoot another one of these out. Anything you were telling me how if you saw Dave Ramsey in an alley, you would just punch that guy in the face.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, yeah. So we followed we followed a lot of Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, my parents took a course. We haven't got
to say yell freedom yet. Yeah. The mortgage is not paid off yet, but hopefully. Honestly,
maybe we can talk about him a little more next episode. Like not having a lot of debt is a good place to be. Maybe we can. Here's a little. I'm just gonna stop talking. We're gonna keep talking, but that is great. Any last minute words?
Yeah, I'll just say that chicken minis. Phoebe wanted to know today because Jill was in one of these situations where she needed to just grab some food, and Phoebe wanted to know why, if it's chicken mini, why there's only 4 in there. Chicken mini.
I see.
Yeah. So
nice. I like that. Got the puns at a young age, raising your daughter.
Well, I think she's just generally confused. Mini versus mini.
She wasn't making the pun. She was like, great. Love it. Well, we'll be back with a second half of this later. That's our take. Thanks for listening to Take 2. Find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube for those who want to watch our videocast.